this. There's series. Okay. Some automatic and remote control rules. Some are band specific. Some deal with foreign countries. A little bit about spurious emissions and the modulation index limit. Basically, I think everybody knows when you get a license, you actually get two. You get a station license and an operator license. It's usually both for the same person, but the station licensee can delegate control operator to somebody else. Technically, you're supposed to do it in writing and keep a copy of that at your station. So when the FCC guys come to visit you, you have that. In most cases, the control operator has to be present at the control, what they call the control point, unless it's automatic control. If it's remote control, it may not be at the station, but he's still at the control point where the control is actually being done. And you can do the control via internet or other various means. There's also a condition, if it's automatic, that there has to be some mechanism that will shut the transmission down after 3 minutes in case of some sort of failure, or somebody's got the sitting on their push to talk button, keeping the repeater up or whatever. So when you're doing what they defined as telecommand, and you're less than 50,000 kilometers above the Earth, you have, like I said, you have to limit your transmission to no more than 3 minutes in case there's some sort of malfunction. What's the maximum permissible duration of a remotely controlled station's transmissions if its control link malfunctions? So if it's local control, the control operator, whoever is defined to be that, has to be there at the control point. If it's remotely controlled, they can be physically somewhere else, but they still are, that's wherever they are is the control point where they're actually controlling the thing. If it's automatic control, like you would have with a repeater, where it's set up to pretty much run on its own, there's usually some control link where somebody, the usually call them the trustee for that repeater, can shut it down, do other control functions. So obviously the control operator is not at the control point when it's like a repeater or automatic control. And you can't do third-party communications while it's an automatic controlled station unless it's doing data. So if it's phone, you can't do third-party through an automatically controlled. Under what situation may a station transmit third-party communications while being automatically controlled? Right. there's a thing called the International Amateur Radio Permit that you can get so you can operate in certain countries of North and South America, Mexico, Canada, all the South American countries. There's a list of ones that currently accept that. I don't know actually how you apply for one. Does anybody?
You submit the form.
Huh?
You submit the.
Have you done it? Is it easy?
You submit the form, a copy of your license. Like, I think a couple bucks.
I was gonna say there's kind of money.
Oh, yeah, it's not too much. Okay. Or also have the step, just
Okay.
the European.
So what is meant by IARP? They tried to fool you with Bravo, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Did you get fooled?
I was reading it, saying, oh, wait a minute.
And the SIPT agreement allows citizens to operate in European countries. I guess the basic difference is SEPT is for European, IARP is North-South America. And there's 40 countries that currently allow it. We don't have a list of them. To operate, you need to have a copy of the FCC public notice DA 16-048. I assume y'all might have to have a copy of your license. I don't know. Which of the following operating arrangements allows an FCC licensed U.S. citizen to operate in many European countries and alien amateurs from many European countries to operate in the U.S.? Which of the following is required in order to operate in accordance with SEPT rules in foreign countries where permitted? Charlie. Have you done that one?
The step. Yeah. And it's mainly for.
What is
You go to customs.
what is DA 16-1040?
I think that's the form that says you're out of control. The step is it's far more about this big trifold. It has full sign stuff like that. Basically, when you go to customs, they see you with equipment, but who are you with this equipment? You show that, and they give you less of a hassle.
Oh, okay. Less of a hassle.
Take apart trans.
Okay. And if you are communicating with other countries, you have to limit the communications to the thing they like to call incidental to purposes of amateur service and remarks of a personal character.
Yeah, enforcement for that one probably falls to the FBI.
Repeat that?
The enforcement for that particular rule probably falls to the FBI.
Oh, think so. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. But it always bugged me on what are remarks of a personal character. Call somebody names or just say, hi, Joe.
Like, or like Dublin. Don't
Well, yeah, you're not supposed to talk about politics, pornography, and sanity, and all that or business. Which of the following apply to communications transmitted to amateur stations in foreign countries?
I'm somewhere that small about in terms of my grades. And that was this to a certain extent. This supplies the basic values just so isolated. I'm not sure I appropriate. At least I know.
Well, that would probably be allowed under the rule because you're not necessarily doing it for commerce. I mean, that would be in support of the station.
Yeah.
Could even put that under the just the exception.
I'd like to be live on stuff. It's just yeah. We can take care.
Yeah, like the great granddaughter, seventh generation. She's still there and she operates all.
Okay. So there's a rule on spurious emissions. After January 2003, yeah, here it is. It has to be 4 to 3 dB below the mean power of fundamental emission or any spurious frequencies, which is typically for thermonic, but could be others. And we talked about the 60-meter band where you're limited to 2.8 kilohertz in those channels. Forgot how wide the channels are. They're a little bit wider than that. What? On 60 meters?
No, actually, the channel is like 2.8 kilohertz wide. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you're operating for CW, you're right in the middle, and then for upper sideband, you have to operate slightly below it. Right. Because once
I think I
you
can
come out the sideband, it's actually. Yeah.
Well, if it's 2.8 wide, you were up your sideband, you'd have to be at the lower edge.
Yeah, this thing that's missing here. But so you operate out of it, your center frequency is out of it, and then that puts it in the center. For upper sideband.
It's a weird band.
Yeah. Looks like we're for. It's a 4,000 of the terrace. It's got the line right there. Zero distance. It's channel. Nature such as in frequency. It's beside it. It stops right. Yeah. Great. Nice for symbology. So. Yeah, on this here. Those print a little bit off the line, it's right below it, but you operate on that center frequency right there on that line, and that puts it right in the center of the channel when you take into account that you're on the upper side band.
Okay. And there's also, and I think this, I guess, is tying to the 60-meter band about being down 26 dB below the mean power level.
So, you know, but certain reasons go on. I'm proud. So. Tuesday, check. Check it out. Yeah.
I think I made a FDA contact once, 60, but it's not much traffic.
Well, I have no antenna compatible on the 60-meter band, but when I look up my photostats, I've got 160 contact. Absolutely certain. Yes. It's not how you got it. Yeah.
So what's the maximum bandwidth for data emission on 60 meters? Hold up. What's the maximum mean power level for a spurious emission below 30 megahertz with respect to the fundamental emission? That's one that they just increased recently. Used to be like 35, I think. Okay. Yeah. There's also a restriction on angle modulated emissions, where you can't have a modulation index greater than 1 at the highest modulation frequency. I don't even know what angle modulation is. But I know if I do it.
That's.
So what is the highest modulation index permitted at the highest modulation frequency for an angle modulation below 29 megahertz? You think they're talking about phase modulation? It's the angle. Yeah, I don't know what that is. We've never covered that.
When they're excited, speak.
Hold the mic with this. Go. Now this is more of the 630, 2200 meter stuff. So you're allowed on. I guess the main thing to remember there is the on 630 you can do the entire band with reading your data and entire phone with image. There's something, I don't think there's a question anymore. There used to be about this 30-day period.
It's it. Yes, no, it's still there.
Huh?
Still sure.
On what portion of the 630 meter band are phone emissions permitted? What notification must be given before transmitting on the 630 or 2200 meter bands? Seems like an awful lot of trouble to operate on 630 or 2200. That should be possible. Well, obviously, you don't have to have very good antenna if you're only allowed 1 watt with 1500 watts in. Understood for all that. Oh, I guess part of the thing is there's some power utilities that use those frequencies for control of substations. I always thought they did it over the power line. Guess they also do some external. So how long must an operator wait after filing a notification with Utilities Technology Council before operating on the 2200 meter or 630 meter band? So if you don't hear anything, you can operate, I guess, after 30 days. I'm sure everybody's going to run out and set up their 2200 meter system. That's a long antenna. Even a quarter, yeah, a quarter wave vertical. Imagine what that would be.
from
Yeah, I'm sure it's ground wave.
pretty consistent. They hear